Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, welcome. On this channel we post writing tips, unboxings, book hauls, book reviews and the occasional vlog. And today, all you guys who are not new to this channel will know this is not my house. I'm actually on holiday in Cornwall at the moment, but like a true workaholic, I had some videos to film, so we're doing them here. But today I have a writing tips video for you about the different types of editors. Before we get into that video, don't forget, if you like what you see, to subscribe to this channel. Your continuous support means a lot, so thank you guys so much. Editors, a very important step in your writing, and do not skip it. Seriously. There are many different types of editors out there. Some you should definitely and have to use, some are optional but possibly highly recommended. I'm going to go through 6 different types of editors. These are the main ones that I personally would go through, but there's probably more and you can technically do less, but don't skip on the editing stage. We're going to go through in order of roughly when you'd use these guys. So, editor number 1, critique partners. Critique partners are fellow writers who you would generally swap work with, and they critique your work as you write. So chapter by chapter or every 5 chapters, you generally don't pay critique partners. You swap work, you edit for them and they edit for you. These guys are going to try to find any plot holes. They're going to tell you how your story's going as you write it, if there's anywhere where they have a lull in their interest in it. General overall writing advice, writer to writer, is if you haven't seen my video on critique partners, the link is above me now. This is not a professional edit, but an overview from other writers. It is not a step to be skipped because partly it's free. It's a good way to get some of those silly errors or repeated mistakes out of the way before you're paying for this word for word. At the same time, with critique partners, once the first draft is written, you want to use beta readers. If you haven't seen my video on beta readers, that link is above me now. A beta reader is a reader who reads your work, so someone who likes to read the category or genre that your book is in. So after you've used your critique partners and written your first draft, edited it as much as you can, you want to send it to as many beta readers as you can. Generally overlap what they're finding across the board, see where multiple people are having a problem, see where only one person is. In case there's any shortfalls, any plot errors that your critique partners missed, things like that. Again, not a professional edit, but they're very useful to get some repeated mistakes and also just to see what your general audience thinks of your work prior to paying a lot of money. We're now getting into what you pay for. Editor number 2, developmental edits or content edits. These guys are looking at story structure, plot points, and organization of your story. They're not here to correct your grammar or to tell you what word choicing to use. They're literally going to tell you if the story makes sense in the order that it is, if it keeps the interest going throughout, and if there's any plot errors or plot twists that don't quite work. Editor number 3, line edits. A line edit is where someone is going to go through your work sentence by sentence and make each sentence as crisp and beautiful as possible. They're not looking for story structure problems. They're not going to tell you if there's a plot error. They're literally interested in a sentence at a time. They're looking for writing style, flow, word usage, if it's long-winded, if the dialogue doesn't read correctly, if you are repeating the same word again and again. Basically, they're going to polish up your work. Number 4, copy edits. These guys are the grammar Nazis you've been searching for. They're going to go through and find all those missing full stops, all the repeated full stops, missing quotation marks, all of it. They're going to get it. They're going to do your spelling, punctuation, and grammar. They also check that you're being consistent throughout. You want to use the same copy editor throughout your book because it must be consistent. So if you have someone who uses the Oxford comma, you're going to use it throughout. You don't want to have half your book written in Oxford and half your book written in not. Or if you're using British spelling and then halfway through you change to American spelling. These two things, readers are going to notice, they're going to find them. Editor number 5, the proofread. Now, there are two types of proofreader. One is the formatting. They're going to look at how your work is formatted. Are the margins the same per page? Are the chapter headers in the same font? Is the work in the same font? Is it big enough, small enough? Is it central to the page? They're checking it's all formatted correctly. Editor 2 is looking for any last minute errors. They're going to check if they find any plot holes, any slight punctuation or spelling things. They're going to read through it and just check if there's anything that has slipped past the other editors. These guys are basically the last editor you are going to use. They're just an overall check it before it's released. And finally, editor number 6. Now this is an optional edit. The others are ones I would say do not skip. They are a must. Number 6 for me, I think you don't want to skip it. It does depend what type of story you are writing. Number 6 is a sensitivity editor. So these guys are going to check your work for insensitive content. For example, if you are a white writer writing for a black protagonist, you might want to make sure you haven't put any slurs in there. You might want to make sure that's all right. If you're writing a very religious character and you yourself are not, again, you want to get someone to check out those religious aspects are correct. A lot of science fiction writers do this where they give their book to an actual scientist to check the science makes sense. It's just checking. You're not going to insult anyone, and that you've written the character as real as possible. If you yourself are not a musician, how do you write as a musician protagonist? If you are not a teacher, how do you know from your student days that's really how the teacher was thinking? This is also if you are a straight writer writing for a gay protagonist. The list goes on. Anything that you are not, you might want to check just to make sure it's all right. Your sensitivity reader, you actually probably want to do much nearer the start of your editing process. So after your critique and beta readers, you probably want to use them very early on because it could be complete story rewrites. It could be entire chapters moved or replaced, which you don't want to have already have paid for the other editors to have done those line edits and things if you're then going to have to scrap the lines later. And those are my 6 types of editors. As I say, I would not want to skip on any of these guys. Number 6, which is the sensitivity editor. They are optional. As I say, it depends on who your protagonist is or what world your book is written in. For the others, do not skip, use them. And that's it for today. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you like what you see, don't forget to subscribe to this channel. If you'd like to see as soon as I upload, click that little bell down below. You can also follow me on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, or Tumblr. I post general bookish pictures, as well as my writing tips and unboxings on there. And thanks for watching, guys. Bye!